Hey guys, Andrew Esquivel here, and today I'm going to at least attempt to review this camera stabilizer. So there's actually a number of companies that make the exact same thing, and they range in price anywhere from 25 to like 60 bucks. And I kid you not, they're all the exact same thing. So basically there's a white label manufacturer over in China that makes some of them for various companies, and those companies then buy them, brand them as their own, and sell it at whatever price they're selling at. But that aside, this is supposed to make your camera, at least when you're recording, look less shaky. So I've got my little attachment for my cell phone, but this can theoretically use DSLRs and some heavier stuff. It's got a lot of different points of adjustment because the idea is you're maintaining a special center of gravity, which there is a lot of trial and error in terms of getting it perfect, because you have to have the exact setup you're going to use every single time set up just right, because if you're off just a little bit, you'll totally throw off the center of gravity, and then this thing doesn't work. And on top of that, it's actually really heavy. So your arm gets tired pretty quick from the fatigue of this thing compared to just holding what you would normally hold, plus all this aluminum and these heavy weights at the bottom that help keep things stabilized. You know, you got several different points of position to put the handle. You've got several different points of position to put the camera and offsets left or right. You got 7 different points of position for the bottom weight. You've got multiple weights. There's actually 3 weights, but right now I'm only at 1. So you can really tune this thing, but the problem is it takes a long time to tune, and it's not intuitive in the slightest. You know, at first you're just kind of like, what the heck am I doing? But my camera does have optical image stabilization, but I've heard what you guys had to say about some of my videos, and you know what? You're right. They are pretty shaky. Hopefully this can help that. Will it? Well, let's find out. Okay, so I've got the camera on the stabilizer, and it's a nice bright sunny day. Let's go for a walk. I'll take it at a pretty fast pace, and you'll notice it'll kind of jostle to the left and right, kind of rotating a little bit as I walk. Take it at a pretty brisk pace here. And everyone says it takes time to get used to this thing, which I can see why. Because, you know, it tends to want to swivel on you. There's no real way to control everything. If you don't have everything right in front of you, you don't plan out your shots, it might not work too well. And, no mail. That was a pointless walk. Well, not entirely. So now we're on more bumpy terrain with grass. And come to my favorite spot, my decrepit little swing. Ugh. Now, yeah, it wants to swivel when I don't want it to swivel, and you know, there's that awkward like rocking motion. Right now it's, you know, steady. The idea is you're supposed to use it when you're moving. So let's go back and forth on the swing here. Will it keep things steady when I literally rock back and forth? See, now it's not. I don't know if you need to grease it. Now it doesn't have enough weight to stay steady, I guess. But in theory, it should pivot on the ball joint where I hold it on the handle, keeping it completely level. I mean, if I'm much more forceful with it, then yeah, of course, it'll correct, but subtle things, it doesn't really do anything. I turn it, you know, and this ball joint has like one spot where you can really angle it out. You don't really want to, at least not all the time, and then the direction goes completely askew. I've had this thing for a few days now, and you know, I've tried every single possible adjustment you can. I've been balancing it for hours trying to get it just perfect. And you know what? You just can't get it perfect because the design is not that good. It's not really a gimbal. It's a stabilizer, I suppose. Maybe it works better with heavier stuff. But I've heard people say that it really only works good with the light stuff. I can't say it works good at all. I mean, it's, for one, very cumbersome. Despite the fact that it looks compact, it'll really fatigue your hands and arms very quickly. You'll be finding yourself switching your hands constantly in order to make sure that your arm is not so uncomfortable and fatigued that you can't really hold it up properly. And you know, it's just not easy to use. It's not intuitive, and it grabs your attention with these bright, shiny colors, and yeah, everything looks nice, and it's like, at one glance, it's like, oh, that looks very professional, it looks very well made, yes. But when you use it, it's like, this is really garbage. It's really just a little bit of aluminum that's colored and like a bicycle hand grip on a ball joint with some weight. It doesn't really work all that well. It sways back and forth, and that might actually make people more sick when watching a video than me just kind of like going about doing this once in a while as I pan back and forth, you know? So, man, I can't really recommend this thing. This thing doesn't really do much. And, you know, it really stinks for those who paid for the quote-unquote name brand version, which is like 60 bucks. I only paid like 25 bucks for this thing from an off-brand, and I really can't recommend it. So, I think this one's going back to Amazon.